Minnesota, LA, opening night. Bronny and Bron, right? Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. have said that they will be there for this momentous occasion.
They will?
Yeah, apparently so.
All right.
I think this is setting this kid up for failure. Like, he had a great preseason game, and the game he lost by like 45 points or whatever to the Golden State Warriors or whatever. How do you view like this entire situation now that it has now that we're here? Like, it's one thing over the summer, but now that we are exactly here to this point, we're on the eve of the regular season, and it's clear that it is going to happen. And some people do not believe that this is just going to be a novelty, Bo. Some people think that Bronny's going to be with this team all season long.
I refuse to believe that's going to happen. I absolutely refuse to believe that's going to happen. From what I've seen in the preseason, and I'm not going to pretend like I watched the preseason to a granular level, but I saw a young man that has no business playing in the NBA. And I think more and more people are starting to see and talk about him as a guy who has no business being in the NBA. Now, if he's going to be that guy and be on the roster, my thought is he's got to play and work so hard to earn his respect and justify his position, right? The comparison that people make all the time to him is Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Giannis's brother, okay? There are two major differences there, though. One, Thanasis had a resume coming into the league and through all this time that completely dwarfs anything that Bronny had.
Mm-hmm.
Two, he served a very specific purpose, and I guess they're trying to sign him again, so I don't even know if I should say serve in the past tense. Giannis listens to him.
He's older than Giannis, which people don't realize.
Yes, Giannis listens to him. If there's something that you need to get through and you can't get Giannis to hear, they call him T-Nasty. They go holler at him, and he could be the one to talk to him. And I said two, but this is the third one, and it goes in line with what I was just saying before. He'll go hard. Like, if you go be there in that fan favorite position or in that Victory Cigar place, you got to be a go hard. And I haven't seen that so far from him. And so if the Lakers keep him on the team in an active capacity all year long, I forget who it was that said that when they took him, they saw that as them not being serious about winning. Look, that spot that he's taken up is probably not.
Boogie Cousins said that, right?
Yeah. That's probably not a spot that someone who's going to play is going to have. Like, I want to be clear about that. It's probably somebody else that's going to ride to Oak, but it's probably going to be an NBA player. And I don't see an NBA player right now. And I don't think this is going to be helpful to the Lakers. I don't think it's going to be helpful to Bronny. I don't think it's going to be helpful to his daddy.
Yeah, it is so weird. Like, someone was trying to make the point, but they didn't make this analogy, but I've heard you use the analogy before, like the Sandlot. Like, hey, just stick your glove up there. Bron can make lesser players look competent. If that's the case, and we've seen it to be the case with the Boobie Gibsons of the world and all those type of guys, no shade to them, wouldn't it be fair to expect him to go well out of his way to make Bronny look good?
Boobie Gibson is Tiny Archibald compared to Bronny. Like, Boobie Gibson was a top 10 recruit, like a very good college basketball player, got to an Elite Eight, one game away from making it to the Final Four. Like Daniel Gibson was a something, right? He was a first round pick, all of these things. That's not what we've got here. So yes, in theory, you could do that, but when is Bronny even supposed to get on the floor with this team? Like, where's the spot? And then when he does get on the floor, what you supposed to do when all these dudes is going out of their way to yam on him?
For one, it also looks like they have a draft pick that looks pro ready. Have you seen Dalton Connect's work?
Connect gang, DB Bang?
Yeah, look, I didn't think the Lakers were one of those teams that was like, hey, man, we going to have multiple of these, but they got multiple of them. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing about Connect that's very important is that he's like 23.
Mm-hmm. He's a real senior.
Yeah, he's a grown man stepping in there, and he was a very good scorer in college.
Mm-hmm.
And also important, 6'6".
Yep.
This is a big thing. Now, we're going to see what this is in the NBA because people have made the point that he had that one very good game and everybody talked about it. And then they say, go look at the stats from the other games. And they were not nearly as impressive. Like, I don't know what contribution the Lakers are going to get from him or need to get from him to really make this happen. But he's going to get minutes on this team. My question for you is, forget Bronny, what are they going to be in the West? Are they again going to go into the LeBron James Invitational Play-In Tournament sponsored by Clutch?
It's funny you read my mind because that's exactly where I was going next because I was going to talk about the Warriors and we wind up always getting in trouble talking about the Warriors because there's a very sensitive hive there and Lakers hive is just as sensitive. When I think of the Western Conference, I think of given health, right? And all I'm just saying is given health. These are the teams that I am saying definitively are better than the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's with a healthy LeBron from last year, with a healthy Anthony Davis that played as many games as he's played in his entire career and had a strong case to win Defensive Player of the Year. So all the things were working for them last year. If you want to just say Darvin Ham wasn't and JJ Redick is an upgrade, which I'm not sure that he is. Okay, fine. I'm going to name these teams and you tell me if you think they're definitively better.
Yes.
Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Denver.
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yes.
Dallas, excuse me.
Yes.
The Memphis Grizzlies with a healthy Ja Morant.
Yeah. Yes.
See what I'm saying? Now we're at 5.
Yes.
The Phoenix Suns.
Definitively. Probably. It's definitively. I will not. The only reason I will not say definitively is I don't know how many games you're going to get out of Kevin Durant, and I really don't know how many games you're going to get out of Bradley Beal. And if you get the games out of Bradley Beal, I don't know what that means. That's a year 13 Bradley Beal.
Well, the thing for me is, and I'm not sure how much of an upgrade Mike Budenholzer is over Frank Vogel, but I do believe that Mike Budenholzer is better equipped to coach this team than Frank Vogel was last year when, like you said, you had 75 games of Kevin Durant. And because of the way the season ended, they got swept by Minnesota, who we discovered was coming, right? They won 49 games. Like, they were legit that was a 4 or 5 seed, and we kind of forget those details within that. They got a point guard now. You have a better offensive coach. Last year, Bo, they were 5th in 3-point percentage, but 25th in attempts. Now, granted, you and me hate the effect of the 3-point shot, but the numbers are the numbers. They're going to be taking a lot more of them given health. I would assume with health that the Phoenix Suns are going to be better. So that's 6. Yes. Then you get to the New Orleans, the Sacramentos, the Warriors. By the way, the Houston Rockets and San Antonio Spurs.
And so,
you know what I mean?
I think the Spurs, they would have to improve by like 25 games.
Yes.
To get into legitimate,
but they're no longer territory. A gimme on the schedule.
No, they're not. No,
point.
Oh God, no, they're not, because they've got a superhero. They got an X-Man, and they got Chris Paul, which is I do think is going to be very helpful. He's the ultimate floor raiser of a team, right? Yeah, I'm with you there. Also, man, at some point, this Utah thing gonna start turning around and really going too. Now, I don't know not to the point of being better than the Lakers, but with Houston, I don't know how much you have seen Reed Shepherd, but this looks like it might be a thing.
He looks like he knows what he's doing over there.
I mean, he shot something like 50% from 3 in college.
Yeah, dude. I think not giving it away, but he's my pick for Rookie of the Year. Not that we got a bountiful bunch to be picking from, but that's the best of the bunch that I can see, given how much he's going to have the ball in his hands, how sure he seems with the ball. Like, the game don't move too fast for him, and he can, like you said, he can shoot the blood out that thing. So when you pair him with Alperen Şengün, like Jokic light, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be in a good spot. And then, Bo, that leaves the Golden State Warriors, a team that looks good on depth. Like, to me, they look like the Bucks. Like, the way we talk about the Bucks and on a lower level be the way that we talk about the Warriors, where on a given night, because Steph Curry is Steph Curry, and as we see in the Olympics, he can still get there. He can still reach the high notes. He's going to be able to give you some nights against some really good teams that you're going to say, man, if we squint just a little bit, or if they make a trade here or there, Like they can swing something, but they swung for Paul George and couldn't get him. Like they've been trying to make this Jonathan Kuminga thing a thing in a way that they're not including him in trade talks and everything else, but they aren't extending them. But I don't know what to make of them. And when you don't know what to make of somebody, I feel like that's your answer.
And I will say this, you start going into the advanced number case with Steph. That last season was the worst the numbers would indicate that he had played in over a decade. Like, he can still dial it up. He does still seem to have that gravitational effect on a team. I don't know how good he is. Like, I don't know how elite we're talking here. You'd still rather have him than not. And yes, the Olympics made it one thing, but yeah, when it's Steph Curry and you got Kevin Durant over here and you got LeBron James over there and we might bring Anthony Edwards out there, okay, right? And with the international three-point line that Steph Curry should not be allowed to play with. Right? Like, what are you like? I was watching them games and I was like, oh man, what are we crazy?
Pop a shot.
You gotta be kidding me, man. It's like letting Will Chamberlain shoot from where he can put his arm in the goal, right? Like, this is nuts. But yeah, they held that thing together as long as they can. I think it's a fair point and thing to say about them. But all of that takes us back to the Lakers to say, it's a lot going on in this conference and why it feels wild and unsettling for some people that they seem to be playing this Bronny game.
I just don't get it. I don't get the return. Like, I understand, like I saw Shaq say something like he wished he could have been able to play with his son. I feel like people are looking at this through the black father lens. And my thing is, y'all, we don't have to buy into the stereotype that black fathers ain't shit. Like, LeBron don't have to be the savior for all the negative stereotypes that we gonna look at it through this lens and say, we're not looking at this through competition. We're looking at this through nepotism and all these other things. Like, y'all, this is merit. Like, I feel like we've taken competition out of the discussion of what sports is supposed to be. Like, I felt like it was really taken out of context or out of the discussion when we talked about Caitlin Clark and people weren't allowed. Yeah. We can't say that people are allowed to be competitive or feel certain things. But like you said, everybody gonna be trying to get back on Bronny when he out there.
Yeah, like the point that I made when it first happened that went over so well. I understand these people looking at it through the context of LeBron as a father, but I'm shocked by how many people don't look at it through the context of Bronny as a son. Mm-hmm, and I do think that there's kind of like crumbling trust of institutions and all of this stuff. And people just look at it like, get it how you live, get in where you fit in, no matter what it is. And so this is what gets him to the league. Thereby it's the accomplishment because you got him to the league. I don't see it that way at all. I don't think being in the league when you know you don't belong there is good for your psyche. And I don't think this boy is under any delusions about whether or not he actually belongs in the NBA. Why? Because he has to guard these NBA players all the time. And I'm sure they're eating him up in practice and they're eating him up everywhere else because he's just not that good right now. Maybe there'll be a day that comes that he can be. But I don't think you send him to the D League and he's going to be down there scoring 25 points a game. No, I think he's going to be in the D League looking like the other dudes in the D League. He just look like LeBron James.
He looking like food. And you don't want to go to the G League and look like food.
No, man, these cats is playing for their supper, man. Like, that's one thing about this is that you got to really want it, especially if you come from where he comes from. And look, I can, like, off the top of my head, I can pull Gary Payton II as an example of a dude that probably don't need this money, but got it the long way, right? Went down to the D League, grinded it out. Dwayne Wade has a son that's trying to get it the long way, grinding out in the D League. So I don't want to say that if you somebody that comes from this measure of privilege, that you don't have it in you to get it out of the D League. No, it can happen. I'm asking the question about this dude. Like, is this really your dream in that way?
I'm asking the question about all of us. Did we not forget that this kid had a cardiac arrest a little over 12 months ago? Does it have to be on national TV on a Monday Night Football game for us to care that somebody damn near died? Is it because we didn't see it? It didn't happen. That's questions I got about all this stuff, man.
Yeah. And look, I mean, but I'll say this right fast on that, though. If they say he's healthy enough to play, then he's healthy enough to play. And I truly want whatever works out best for him. I would love if he just happened to be a 15-point-a-game scorer this year, right? If you told me that he turned into that next year, I would love every minute of it. I'm just asking who has watched that boy play basketball and thinks that that is a reasonable outcome.
Well, my point about the cardiac arrest thing is whenever we saw Damar Hamlin, it was always viewed through the lens of he's a success story. We're happy that he is alive. He don't have to worry about this football thing. He can go do something else. And I know that, granted, football is a much more dangerous and physical sport, but the heart is the heart, man. And I ain't no doctor, but I just feel like we don't even pose the natural concern that we should pose for him because we're only viewing it through the context of his father. And I just think that is selling him short. And for us, it is a failing of us